Welcome to some Bite Down Boxing Talk. Just gonna jump in really quickly before I end this lunch break. Um, this really isn't a rebuttal or a response to anybody or calling any particular channel out, but it's just been interesting over the last, 48 hours or whatever. Just kind of taking in all of the random assessments and all the analysis of how what AJ needs to do, what Anthony Joshua, what he needs to do, what he hasn't done, so on and so forth. And like I said, I'm not really responding to many of them, anybody in particular, but I would like to request to ask for some people to share me the videos on how to fix Deontay Wilder. And I hate to go on the tit for tat and the back and forth on it, but some of the criticism and some of the assessments of Anthony Joshua from a lot of esteemed YouTubers, fellow YouTubers, I don't recall hearing much at all in what a Deontay Wilder has to do, who, as a result of his last performance, however you think he got there, whatever you think was the cause of that setback, I really just haven't found people as eager to share how they would fix him and what he needs to do. I don't think I've ever seen those videos. Jay-Z had the song. I know I always bring in some Jay-Z lyrics, but Jay-Z said in that hello to the say hi to the bad guy was like, a lot of people say a lot of things about me, but let me show you what I ain't. And I think that's all AJ needs to do. He showed you what he ain't. He took some shots. He danced a little bit. He worked his jab. He got a guy. He came out and said, I'm going to get this guy out of here. People still talking about his confidence. He's not confident. The guy had one bad night. Nobody says anything about the fact that he dropped a guy that had never been dropped before in the third round and was almost on his way to having a hell of a victory. He makes this one mistake coming off of a questionable camp and all the other stuff. Nobody mentions any of that. All of a sudden, he's the most broken guy in the division, but he's sitting here with 3 titles. Like, some of this criticism and some of the commentary just doesn't really add up to me. And on the second part, I don't understand what's going on with the. I don't understand what's up. I know we out here with these clickbait titles. That AJ can only go in one direction, or Tyson Fury can go in one direction. That's really not that. That's really not that true. It's not that cut and dry. Like, I don't understand what all the conjecture is about. It's really simple. What can Deontay Wilder's legal team do to prevent a fight? A Fury and a Fury and AJ fight. What can his legal team do? That's one of the major hindrances to the fight that they want to make happen with AJ and Fury. Another thing that I don't see nobody talking about is the fact of the matter is, with Deontay Wilder's setback, the coronavirus situation, the fact that they got $17 million from the gate from the rematch, the guarantees of the 2 fighters. Nobody wants to make that fight. They don't. The people who could make that fight do not want to make that fight because they don't want to pay for it. They don't have a way to pay for it. So, if Wilder's legal team can't put together a way to stave off Fury and AJ, they're moving forward with that because they have options there. They have alternatives to try there. Somebody out there in the world is willing to pay everything to make that fight happen. Somebody is willing to take care of that. Nobody is willing to do the same thing for Wilder and Fury. It's really that plain and simple. However you want to bitch about it, complain about it, whatever conspiracy you want to try to throw together, however you want to clickbait your title. Nobody wants to pay for that fight right now. And the one thing that's a little concerning, my question with the legal situation with Wilder is it going to be looked at negatively for them, or is it going to hurt them that there was no immediate action from his side when the contract was set to be expiring, quote unquote? Was there any reaching out to figure out how to extend that? If they just sat there and let it expire and let them shut down the December 19th date that they were kicking around, if his team just sat there and let all that get shut down and they never did anything, then maybe that kind of by default signaled that they didn't even want to fight. So that's my one question with the legal situation. Like, do you have any claim? Now, the other thing is the media is bugging me out. Mainstream media is bugging me out because we're allowing, or Bob Arum, Fury, and to a degree Frank Warren, they're being allowed to set the narrative of what's going on right now, and to completely tell people in the States that fight, we don't have any obligation there. We can do what we want to do. We don't really know that. Because even if it goes to the mediation and they get what they want, there's another step after that from what I understand. So it's not like it's cut and dry that they can just move on. The second thing that we do know that's holding up the fight is whatever is going on with the WBO and them trying to enforce the mandatory with Usyk. The one slick thing that I saw happen, I got to tip my cap to these guys. That's how bad they want to put this fight together. But right now, it's not really, it's really not underhanded or sneaky or it's nothing to get all conspiratorial about. The fact of the matter is that fight can get made. There's money to make it, and it's big money to be made. So maybe they figure out a way to make it. But the thing that I thought was really, regardless of who you like, who you favor in the matter, I like business. I'm not a businessman, but I don't mind seeing I don't mind seeing good business. So for what I saw out there was the fact that they would go ahead and make Fury and AJ. They would go ahead and make that fight and then promise Usyk that within 2 weeks, you can actually fight for that title, but it'd be for a vacant title. So that's creative as hell to me. I'm not gonna sit here and hate. That's creative to me, that for the marketing of AJ and Fury, we can move forward. It's an undisputed fight. It's for all of the titles, all of the belts at heavyweight. You can actually make that claim and put all your marketing into that. And then you can have the fight. And then after the fight, somebody was going to drop a belt anyway, because everybody doesn't want to pay for sanctioning fees. So Wilder don't get his rematch. All right, I was just talking about that. He has a legal situation that he's pursuing. I already hit that up earlier if you want to go back and check that out. And I'm not saying that that's frivolous or it doesn't have any chance. That's what a lot of people in media are telling you, is that situation is done. I'm not saying that. I don't know anything about that to be able to say that. But what I'm saying is, getting back to that WBO situation, they could actually go and make that fight and then tell Usyk after the fight, we're gonna the title will be dropped, and then you can fight whoever, Joe Joyce or whatever. You can fight another individual to have your title shot. I don't know if that's gonna work, but like I said, I don't see that as that's kind of a slick workaround in my opinion, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Could the WBO decide that we're not playing along with that? Like you can't even before you even get to scheduling your fight, we're going to strip you. Now you can no longer market this as an undisputed fight. Maybe they do that. The other crazy thing out here for the WBO is the fact that And this is what the Wilder versus Fury needed to happen next. AJ next in April. We got to stop with this different energy we get these other guys. I'm not doing that on my channel though. I'm just kind of trying to talk through. I'm trying to talk through the facts of it. I understand that you might think that that Wilder is owed a rematch, and that's why he is pursuing the angle that he has, which is going through this mediation process. Well, all I'm trying to tell you is that there's no interest in all the people that can put that fight together. None of them have interest in making that fight. That's all I'm trying to tell you. That's all that I know and that I'm understanding as I look at what's going on. And I mean, it's plain to see. The fact that, and that's, I just went through all of that. I'm not saying that Deontay is out of the picture. What I'm saying is, with the COVID situation, him having the surgery and delaying things, them trying to go back and make the fight December 19th, the college football games, championship games that fell on the 19th, I think it was 5 of them, that killed that date for the fight. I get all that. I get all that. I get all that. That's why I said earlier, is it a weakness for Wilder that they didn't try to go and get the legal matter involved earlier on? That was my question. That was my only question with that. You just said they were trying to make that fight then. I don't think we heard from Deontay until like early November, mid-November, or late October to mid. We didn't hear nothing from him till then. So my question was, did his legal team leave the window or the door open for the other side to say, we're moving on, because we didn't receive any pushback when we started floating the story out there a couple months ago? That's all I'm saying. I don't have any ill will or dislike or hatred towards Deontay Wilder. Are you saying that Fox and ESPN said that they were trying to make the Fury and AJ fight? Is that what you're saying? Because if that's what you're saying, then you really, okay, so you're really making my point then. Fox, obviously, if Fox said that, then they don't have any interest in making the Wilder fight, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about, is that Wilder doesn't seem to have everybody working in his favor to make the fight. Leaving the door open for the other fight to be explored and possibly made is what I'm saying. But if you are Super Team Wilder, if that's your guy and that's what you really want to see and that's what you stand on, I have no problem with that. I'm just saying, for you to be, you should be excited that this mediation thing is going on. That's where we are. What I'm saying is, now we getting articles daily that that Hearn and his enthusiasm and Arum and his shrewd business tactics, that they're moving forward with this fight. I don't necessarily agree that Wilder is out in the cold, that he doesn't have any say here. I think we still need to see that play out. But what, like, I'm getting back to is, and getting ready to finish up, is, while there's nobody trying to make Fury Wilder, it seems like there are a number of different ways to make. Fox and ESPN want the Wilder versus Fury 3. Fury needs to stop avoiding Wilder and give the man his shot, just like he did Fury. Okay, Brown Boxing. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but it's really about, it gets to a certain point where it comes down to what the contracts say, what the paperwork says. I mean, it was the same thing if we go back to AJ and Ruiz. People wanted Ruiz to move on and make an undisputed fight with Wilder. And at the end of the day, we got the rematch because the paperwork dictated that we got the rematch. So right now, that's what we got to see, is what does the paperwork dictate? It's really not about me and you and others clashing online, and UK fans, it's not about us clashing online with them and saying what we want. What did the paperwork say? It's really that simple. And that's getting worked out right now. I haven't heard any more reports about the mediation. Has a meeting even taken place? Is a meeting scheduled to take place? How do you know that? I mean, they came out, and that's what I'm saying, man. That's what's being decided right now. I mean, and that's what I'm just asking. Like, we haven't heard any when Canelo's situation was going down before he got this fight in that's happening Saturday. You heard about meetings. You heard about the paperwork. The lawsuit needed to be revised because it didn't satisfy something in the court in California. They went back. They had 30 days to get the paperwork together. They got the paperwork back together. They refiled it. Then they came back. They had the mediation. They had the sit downs. They had the 10-hour meetings with DAZN, Golden Boy, and Team Canelo, and they came to a resolution. And it was shit going on the whole time. Do you hear anything going on right now? Do you hear any meeting happen? Do you hear that it was a first meeting? Do you hear that Shelly Finkel had a first meeting? We're not hearing that. Then you know it. Then you up on it then. So like I was saying, the fact of the matter is, it's a lot. It is some things in place before they can move forward with that fight, and we'll see what happens. But I can't even say, I believe this or I believe that. I don't know, because that situation has to get resolved. But at the end of the day, if there's no money to make, if there's no money to make Fury and Wilder the third fight, I mean, who's going to enforce them making it? You won't, because Team Wilder is handling their business behind the scenes. I mean, you saying that like it means something, but the man just came out there and made all his business public 2 or 3 weeks ago. So what is it? Are they moving behind the scenes, or are they being public about it? Or, I mean, what? Okay, I mean, sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. But anyway, we'll see. I still would ask, though, if there's no money there to make the fight, we're looking at, this is the thing. Maybe there's a way for Fury for Fury and AJ, maybe there's a way internationally for them to go fight somewhere. Maybe they get 50% of the money that they want to get. Maybe they can get 75% of the money that they want to get. But there seems to be somewhere that fight can be made, whether it's the Middle East or whatever. And maybe it's a country that doesn't want to abide, or doesn't have to abide by the whole crowd situation, crowds at the fights. Maybe that's what's going on. And between Matchroom, Frank Warren, and Bob Arum, it's like, we're going to move forward and get that money. It's hard times right now. We're not going to sit here and forego getting this big bag when it's there to be gotten because of Deontay Wilder over here. That's another thing, and I don't even agree with this, but they said it's a possibility that they could try to go somewhere to where the contract, the Fury and Wilder contract doesn't have to be honored. That's very true, but you just answered your own question. I mean, if the Saudis or whoever it is in the Middle East that wants to pay for it, if they agree to bring the fight there, then that's the money. One concern is, with it being overseas, what do? You lose the U.S. pay-per-view, right? And that's That's one of their concerns. That's why I said if they can only make 50% of the money that they would project to make, or if they can make 75% of that, then they make that decision knowing what they're leaving on the table. That's what I'm saying. Right now, there's nothing on the table for Wilder and Fury. There is no money there. Because if you're talking about throwing it in the United States, I just told you they made $17 million at the gate from the first one. No one is willing to move forward to make that fight without that gate. And I'm not sure what the percentage of the crowds is in Florida and Texas. I didn't even hear what the tickets were on the Spence fight, but that's what's holding that up. That's why there's no interest in making that fight, was what I was saying. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Anyway, I gotta get on off of here. Thanks for hollering at me, Brown Boxing. We'll see what continues to happen. I don't have a dog in the fight, to be honest with you. I think another thing to take into consideration is the CDC is saying that crowds might not be back into events until after summer 2021, obviously. So again, if that's the reality of the situation, and the Fury and AJ team decide that we can make money in May before the summer, then maybe they go do what they want to do. And maybe legally there is no move, or there's no move for Wilder to make. I don't know. I don't. Hell, if I was doing that, I wouldn't be getting ready to walk back in this building right now. I have an office somewhere, litigating shit. Hey, but let me get on out of here. It was just my lunch break. Bite down boxing, don't let them count you out. Appreciate the likes and those that tuned in. I'll holler at you. Peace. Oh, PBC boxing tomorrow night on FS1. I think he's training out of Texas, but this Stanioni, he's at welterweight right now. I like dude. He got a nice game to him, but that's on what? FS1 tomorrow night? Yeah, the 16th. So that's some midweek boxing for us. And then Thursday night, I'm going to keep repeating this, NBC Sports Network at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Charles Conwell against some cat named Ashkirev. Never heard of him, but he's undefeated. I think that's going to be a pretty good challenge for Conwell and what he's going to go and try to do next. And then we got heavyweight, undefeated heavyweight out of St. Louis, Stephen Shaw against Pinchuk. That's on Thursday night. And then there's a women's world title fight, Mergenovich out of Canada. She's on there. So that's Thursday night for free or on cable. And then Friday night, we have the Triple G Sarza Meta on DAZN. And then Saturday, you have Showtime Boxing as well as DAZN with Canelo and Callum Smith. So a whole, the next 4 days you can get your sweet science fix all taken care of. Let me go in here and get these people what they need. Peace.